Okay, number three. In the off chance a game designer likes the world I created, I would be very interested in creating a game based on the Gang of Daggers concept. In fact, I decided to try to create a role playing tabletop game like Dungeons and Dragons based on the concept I created. I realized this would help me think of the different classes of enemy combatants and how the world can be populated with rival mercenary groups and magic users. So while the novel focused on the creation of the dagger, the game would focus on an established academy where students are recruited each year, trained with weapons, and fight in summer campaigns. So, gameplay idea. The player has the option to try different ways of accomplishing a mission: stealth, or all out attack, or rival options. The player could sneak into an enemy camp and capture their general at night, or fight him the next day on the battlefield. Bandits and thieves can be found everywhere and are usually the first targets when starting out. Goals include amassing as much wealth, objects, and skills and spells as can be had after 4 years, as well as obtaining leadership positions within the Dagger. Relationships with members of the Dagger is important. Make friends with better fighters, make friends with everyone in the class ahead of you so they can pick you as a leader for your senior year. For a game that focuses on role playing and individual, I like the idea that a player can create a legacy. This means that they can create their first character, learn all the skills and magic they can, survive to graduate, and as that character leaves, they are able to pass on certain things to a character that is a younger relative or a friend of the first character. So the new character starts out knowing magic, has better starting equipment, and even comes into the gang with some established prestige. Their basic stats are still low, and so have to be built up over the years. An interesting idea I had related to that. The dagger learns spells to plant orbs in their heads that can record what a person sees and hears. Classes are recorded and saved as a file, which is shared to other students. The student can access the file, search it, and then demand to be tested by the school for that class. They can pass the test, since they have the information from file, and receive the school credit, and thus take a higher level class. So imagine a freshman coming to school saying they want to test out of several basic requirement classes. They do so, and can take advanced placement and college level courses. After the second or third character, the player would essentially test out of all the school curriculum, and I am thinking would still go to high school, but for some classes they go to a private room to watch video recordings of college lectures. All of this makes the kid seem like a genius, and they get college scholarships. For gameplay, the game switches between the player building up stats each week from class, and combat skills from the dojo, and combat missions on Adrena. So, escort, ambush, attack, defend, scout, or join an army and fight alongside them are some mission types. Missions are offered through a database run by the game, which include random missions discovered and missions offered by clans. When on military campaign, the Dagger relocates to Adrena and joins a faction to fight another. So the player selects a mission, then selects a team of 4 or more, goes to a starting position, completes the mission, and then returns to the database. Rapport, or relations between characters, would be key. The player wants to interact with high class members of the Dagger, so they are more likely to work with that player on missions. More missions means more experience and rewards. And in their junior year, the seniors will more likely pick the popular junior who knows everyone to be who everyone knows to be the leader for next year. On a military campaign, the format changes slightly. The Dagger can see in the dark and can operate independent of the army. Ideally, the Dagger would be able to scan the whole campaign area and monitor places where enemy forces can appear. Cities, bridges, roads, etc. Locate small groups of soldiers who are isolated and attack and overwhelm those groups. As they go, the enemy groups will increase in number and more members of the Dagger will be required to fight. Each mission takes time and actions require energy. So as soon as one mission is done, another can be found and followed through on, and this can happen at any time of the day. The player recovers some energy between missions, and magic allows the player to recover more energy and operate without sleep. So if the player creates the right character, they could conceivably operate all day and night, constantly attacking enemy positions, and being the guy who one-hit kills opponents. In a pitched battle, the Dagger can operate as either an elite mounted infantry unit when together, or, if they have the trust of the general, members of the Dagger can be assigned to lead army units on the battlefield. This gives that army better control since the units can be moved about with relative precision and can pull off tricky maneuvers. The Dagger can sneak into enemy cities prior to a siege battle, and when the battle begins, or to start the battle, defeat the guards at a gate and open it to let the allies in. The fighting is meant to be one-sided. With the Dagger, they are elite in stats and have resources, but are small in number. Conceivably, the Dagger, at around 100 fighters of varying skills, could fight and defeat 1,000 men, or maybe more, but face losses. The conceit is that when a member of the Dagger dies, the whole gang ceases operations and retreats to Earth to mourn the loss of their friend and hide how the person died. This affects their income and prestige since they abandoned the faction that hired them. So, those are elements of gameplay. The medium depends on the game designer and resources available. I can see a console game where the player can engage in first-person melee combat similar to games like Skyrim. I'm just not going to have dual wielding because realistically it's not used in combat. I do feel that combat should utilize what is held in each hand, and even if one of those hands is empty, even if one of those hands is empty, I've been impressed with mount and blade style and method of combat. As a first-person game, I am thinking that melee combat would involve a dominant hand weapon and a supporting hand item. A player could shield bash, then swing the weapon, or vice versa. So, some ideas for a game.